Hey guys, T Glizzy here, and in today's Destiny 2 video, we got a build for the Witherhoard exotic. This is a brand new exotic grenade launcher brought to us in Season 11, and we put together a awesome build to maximize this thing's DPS. So using this build, you are going to be able to slam any boss that you encounter, and this is definitely one of the best DPS builds in the game. We are into the season very fresh, so there are going to be a ton of builds rolling out throughout the season. So if you guys are excited for those, please be sure to let me know by slamming that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. But without further ado, let's dive straight into it. So the Witherhoard, the brand new exotic grenade launcher, comes with a very unique perk called Primeval's Torment. Projectiles fired from this weapon blight targets or nearby areas on impact. So this is very unique. We've never seen an exotic grenade launcher of this type, and it does act really unique. So there are two ways to damage an enemy. You can direct fire at an enemy and get direct damage, and they'll take DOT over time, or you can actually fire at the ground and it'll do a DOT pool, and if they are standing in that pool, they'll take damage over time. So you can actually combine the two combos, so you can do a direct shot and then a floor shot, and then the enemy will take double damage from both of those sources. So the Witherhoard is very unique because it can apply DOT damage to an enemy, and it sits in our kinetic slot. So this means it frees up our heavy slot for some heavy hitting heavy weapons. So I went with the Throne Cleaver sword because the sword seemed to be just in a fantastic spot this season, and we are going to be getting into it later on in the build, where we're going to be maximizing our sword's damage and getting some insane numbers out of it. But pairing up the Witherhoard with a sword is going to be really nice because we can apply DOT damage to an enemy and then follow up with our sword attacks. So for our subclass, we're going to be going with Top Tree Sunbreaker, and this is very important because Top Tree has Hammer Strike, and Hammer Strike does stack with Well of Radiance, and I feel like Well of Radiance is really useful when you are using swords. You can put a well right at a boss's feet and then sit inside the well, and you'll be really tanky. And then Hammer Strike does stack with Well, so you'll be getting the Hammer Strike buff, and then you'll also be getting the buff from the Well too, so you'll be getting like 60% of a damage increase from using just two of these abilities, making you hit a whole lot harder, and also at the same time being protected by the Well of Radiance. So being Top Tree Sunbreaker is going to be very important, pairing this up with the rest of the build, especially if you are doing team activities. So this build is going to be centered around the Stronghold exotic. Since we are using a sword, you always want to bring Stronghold alongside it because it makes surviving in high level activities a whole lot easier, since when you do block, you regenerate a little portion of your health. So the perk on this exotic is Clenched Fist, maximizes guard stats on equipped sword, and shots blocked immediately guarding will heal you. So now moving on to our mods. Our first mod here we have is Taking Charge. Become charged with light by picking up an Orb of Light. Now looking at our next mod, we have Stacks on Stacks. Gain an extra stack of Charge with Light for every stack you gain. So now looking at our first new mod of the season, we have Supercharge. You gain 2 additional stacks of Charge with Light and up to a maximum of 5 charges. So now moving on to our final mod, we have Lucent Blade, and this mod is extremely unique. It's so unique that it needs a video of its own. So in the future, we're going to be making a video highlighting this specific mod, but today we're just going to be applying it to our current build. And this mod reads, while charged with light, dealing damage with a sword gives you bonus sword damage for 5 seconds and consumes 1 stack of your charge with light. It also has a secondary perk which greatly increases the charge rate for your equipped swords. So the increase to damage is a 35% damage increase, which is really nice. And then also with the charge rate, it gives you a 50% faster charge rate. So this means you can do 2 times more heavy attacks than if you didn't have this mod equipped. So this mod is a game changer for swords, and it's super exciting to see that they added something like this. Swords have a very bright future ahead of them. So using Greg as our test dummy, we went ahead and tested out some basic numbers. These are super simple and just some basic numbers that I put together. So the Witherhoard does a total of 17 damage ticks whenever it directly impacts an enemy, and each of those ticks does 5,000 damage apiece, meaning that each shot of our Witherhoard is doing 85,000 damage. So as soon as you apply DOT damage to the enemy, now it's time to switch over to your sword and start laying into that enemy. So I was able to get a total of 7 light attacks and 2 heavy attacks off before the DOT effect went away from the Witherhoard exotic. So each of those light attacks were doing 34,000 a piece, and then each of the heavy attacks were doing 105,000 damage a piece, and this is while the Lucent Blade perk is active. So my sword alone is doing 450,000 damage. And now at the damage from the Witherhoard exotic, that's another 85,000 damage, meaning our total damage is 535,000 per shot from our Witherhoard. So that's per shot, guys. So each shot you can just keep doing this over and over again, and with the catalyst on the Witherhoard you get auto loading holster, so when you apply that DLT damage you can switch to your sword, start laying into the boss, and then when you switch back to your Witherhoard it will be ready to fire again. This is going to be one of the nastiest combos in Destiny 2, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take over the game pretty soon, so definitely make sure you get your hands on a very good sword, because this is going to be one of the nastiest combos in the game. When I do get the catalyst I will be putting together some more build videos so you guys can just see the destruction that the Witherhoard is bringing to Destiny 2, and I'm just so excited to see such a unique exotic. And it's the beginning of the season, who knows what we're gonna see near the end of the season. The exotics just seem to get better and better as the season rolls on. But yeah guys, I just wanted to put together a simple video to show you guys that the Witherhoard exotic is something to keep your eye on, and it is definitely something that is going to take over this season, and that's just my opinion. I hope it does, because I love to see new things shine in the light. But if you guys did enjoy this Destiny 2 video, please be sure to let me know by slamming that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And I've been your boy T Glizzy. You guys have been my awesome viewers, and I'll see you guys in another. Peace.